Magic in the morning, 24 minutes in front of 9 o'clock. And up another degree in Linden to 67 on our way to the mid, possibly the upper 80s this afternoon. Mentioned Mike Barrett joining us. He does every Tuesday morning. It's called Good Policies with Barrett Insurance. Mike, good morning.
Good morning.
What a spectacular morning this is. My goodness, huh?
Awesome. This is, stopped by the office on my way in this morning, and one of the folks at work said, my God, only in Vermont can we go from winter to summer in 2 weeks.
That's what it seemed like. I was just thinking that last night. I got all these blossoms. Of course, when you get up early enough and you come in, the light is just low enough that it's, shining through some of the blossoms. It's spectacular colors.
Trees are filled in. My yard looks awesome. Just everything back to bloom, which is nice.
Mine needs a haying.
Anyways.
Good policies. We talk about the insurance industry. Mike, over the past few weeks, we've had some great conversations about what's going on in the insurance industry and why it seems like like everything else, keeps going up.
Yeah.
And that forces people to try to find a couple of nickels to rub together and save some money. So a lot of folks are shopping, aren't they?
They really are. And Jeff, if we go back on our conversation for at least darn close to a year's time, many of these conversations have really evolved around the hard market and the increased underwriting scrutiny, and then, of course, the rate increases associated with this hard market, which means the insurance companies are trying to generate more funds because they've been losing money. Well, guess what? It hits all of our wallets. It's not going to hit just one person's. Everyone's going to get part of the fun, right? So these conversations were just that. They were conversations. Not everybody saw these increases. Well, guess what? Now they are. Now those renewals reflecting those increases are very much getting in front of people as their renewals are coming up. And we're getting an incredible amount of phone calls from our clients, from not our clients, people wanting to shop to see if there's a way to save money. Now, don't get me wrong. That is a great thing to do. All right, I'll preface it. Yes, that's a great exercise. I think you're doing the right thing. But I'm going to throw a couple quick tips out there. One, give your current insurance agent a chance. Right? I don't care if you're with a captive agency such as State Farm or Farmers or what have you, or if you're with an independent agency, call them. See if there's anything that they can do, because you've got that relationship, right? So maybe there's something that can occur on your existing policy. Maybe you don't have to change. Maybe you're missing crediting opportunities, or there's a way to make some slight modifications that could help reduce the increase of cost. Then, if that doesn't work, again, your agent should have other carriers. Most agents are independent, trusted choice agents like myself, and they have an assortment of carriers they can shop you with and take a look at. That's a good thing, too. And then, of course, you can extend and cast a wider net if you really want to see what the options are out there.
All right. I've got 2 points that I'd like to ask you about, okay? Firstly, I'll ask you this. This is the time of year that folks are bringing out their summer rigs.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, which is a classic car, truck, something they don't want in the salt and the brine, or a motorcycle or something like that. You've mentioned in the past that folks out there that have a classic car, they have to deal with most likely, I think one of the companies you reference is Hagerty.
Yes, Hagerty, J.C. Taylor, there's a few, yeah.
So this would be the time of year that their policy would be renewing, most likely. So
highly likely,
This is where they'd see the increase?
They would, too. And I don't know that those specific niche companies are seeing as much of an adverse impact as the industry in general. But if you are, certainly a good opportunity to shop, but they have some pretty good rates. But, one of the things to really think about here, and I mean really think about here, is that in an effort to save a couple of $100s, don't make it something that could adversely impact you even more down the road. And what I mean by that, and I say this often, Jeff, you and I have talked about it many times, but in an effort to save a couple $100s, if God forbid you go to a new company, you save a couple $100s, and don't get me wrong, I want to save a couple $100s, so I'm in the same boat we all are. My auto insurance renewal came in at $298 more than what it was last year. And I walked to my wife and said, who do I complain to here? This is ridiculous. But in an effort to save a couple of $100s, let's think about the scenario. You switch, you saved a couple $100s. Now, in the current marketplace we're in, hard market, you switch, you have a claim. And I don't even care if it's a large claim. It could be really any type of claim. Severity, frequency, it's all in the works there. That could really lead to a company saying, you know what, our first part of this relationship here is you start coverage with us and then you file a claim. Not sure how we feel about that. So that could lead to them saying, we're not going to continue this relationship past your anniversary date, meaning they will non-renew you. So in your effort to save a couple of $100, now you have a claim, which another company is not necessarily going to like the looks of, and you're losing coverage, a non-renewal, two major blemishes that could make it all the more difficult, not impossible at all, but all the more difficult to find competitive rates. So you could then be paying a couple of $100 more than what you were before you switched. So it's about leveraging your level of risk. I think that's very important right now.
Yeah, very good explanation. All right, now the second point that I wanted to ask, you mentioned that usually a rate increase is when the policy renews.
Yes.
Does it frequently or if ever happen that midway through that policy term that you'll get an increase notification?
No. The only time you'll ever see an increase will be at renewal. And the way that it works is you'll get a notification of your renewal coming 45 days or slightly earlier from the actual renewal date. And that confuses a lot of people, right, Jeff? Because at least 45 days prior to your renewal date, you get your policy in the mail. You don't get an invoice. You don't get anything. That's a renewal for you to look at, for you to have an opportunity to kind of dissect it, see if there's anything you want to have questions about, and maybe make a change before the renewal date and before the invoice gets mailed out to you.
All right. So would that increase, would it be, in your experience, would it be with the exact same coverage that you currently have?
Yes.
So they wouldn't cut, like, say, a $50,000 coverage rate.
Correct. They're not going to, and I will say in most cases, no, you're not going to see any coverage reduction, but there are certain special circumstances. But again, that'd be something you'd have to have very important notice about, where they may have to, maybe they're going to say, okay, well, now we're going to exclude wind loss to this building, or, your vehicle's too old, so we're going to do this. But I've almost never seen that. In those circumstances, we usually address those well ahead of renewal through another means of communication direct with the client so that they know what to expect.
All right. Great job answering those questions. And I think it sparked a lot of questions with our listeners, and they're gonna want to call you. Go ahead.
Sure. You can always give us a call, 748-5224. Find us on Portland Street in St. Johnsbury, online, thebarrettagency.com, Google, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Just look for Barrett Insurance Agency.
And tune in at 8:35 on Tuesday mornings.
Yes, sir.
Magic in the morning. Mike, you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Let's go walk on sunshine.
I love it.